I'm your host, Neil Johnson. Always excited to be with you and to share the news with you. Good to see Medina, Ohio in the stream. Please smash that like, chat in with where you're from. We're going to talk about a really important issue this morning, something that I've actually been torn on. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, but I'm going to read a little piece from Miranda Devine out of the New York Post in conjunction with something you're going to find really interesting in terms of who's okay with the filibuster being done away with and who's not. This is actually a very important stream. This is going to give you the opportunity to make some calls and actually make a difference. So Amherst, Ohio. Ohio's big on the stream today. Home with J.D. Vance. Anyways, Miranda Devine. Trump knows he has just 1 year to fireproof his agenda, safeguard future elections. Folks, do not forget this. If we don't have free and fair elections, this thing is over. Okay? And so it begins. Donald Trump's dramatic four-word salvo on Truth Social just before midnight Tuesday means he knows the honeymoon is over. After thumping wins by radical Democrats, a tautology now, of course, the battle lines are clear. So one thing you need to understand, again, and I've covered the election, we had some wins in red states and so on, but Zohran Mamdani, the fact that New York is willing to actually elect this joker, it really is pretty bad, folks. And then you can look at the Democrats who ran for governor in New Jersey and Virginia. And again, not that I expected the Republican to win, but I need you to actually think in terms of just how radical these people are. Now, they did hide their radical beliefs. They didn't campaign on, we're going to have men and women's locker rooms, even though that's what they want. But you have to understand the times we're in and what people are willing to vote for, in a sense. It's just nuts. So the president knows he has just 1 year until the midterms to fireproof his agenda and safeguard future elections against Democratic fraud. Okay? Just remember that part as we go through this. The 60-vote threshold in the Senate is strangling Republican priorities and is allowing Democrats to shut down the government for the fifth week while blaming Trump. And the mainstream media is carrying their water for him, right? We all know that this is Schumer shut down. They could vote for a CR. They're unwilling to do that. And the media is trying to make it sound like because Trump wants to keep illegals off Medicaid and also able-bodied working Americans off Medicaid, that somehow he's the bad guy here, okay? The only way you're going to have Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, any of it, is if we don't have people who aren't paying into it getting it, okay? It's just crazy. It might be on the other side too, Bruce, in that other pocket there. But yet too many Republicans in the Senate do not know what time it is. They are clinging to outdated niceties that Democrats are itching to blow up as soon as they get their hands back on the reins, which will be soon if the GOP old guard doesn't wake up. So I want you to think in terms of the Senate, who in there in the Democrat Party, last time it was Sinema and Manchin, okay, who were not willing to do the filibuster. Now, my understanding, too, is that Manchin got people to make promises that they wouldn't blow the filibuster up. The reality is I would like a world in which we have the filibuster, in which we would govern well, and in which senators would actually do what's right for America. That would be the ideal. That would be ideal, okay? But how many of you think out there in my audience that the Democrats aren't itching to blow up the filibuster to pass whatever they want if they get control of the Senate? Okay, seriously, comment on that in the chat. What do you guys think? And I'm going to give you some interesting things on this filibuster issue, okay? On where Senate Republicans stand on the issue. Open to changes. There's a total of 9. So of the Senate's Republicans, keep in place, we've got 24 senators, Republican senators, who want to keep it in place. It's Tom Tillis, John Thune, so on. I mean, when John Thune says the votes aren't there, it's because he's one of the votes that aren't there, okay? Now, but don't think the Democrats, if they could have gotten the filibuster, gotten rid of it, they wouldn't have jammed through H.R. 1, which was the worst voting legislation in the history of the world, and gotten Puerto Rico, DC statehood, added more seats to the Senate, packed the Supreme Court. Their whole litany of ideas that they wanted to get done, all right? So, open to changes. Let me ask you guys a question. Which senators do you think are open to changes on the filibuster? This is something I mean, it's going to shock you. Which senators are open to changes on the filibuster? Because there's only 9 of them. It's from the Washington Examiner. They called all the senators. Where are you at on this? Which senators do you think were open to changes? It's not who you think. I'm telling you, some of these people are not who you think. Mark, glad Warren, Ohio likes the show. I got a lot of Ohio listeners on this morning. Welcome, Ohio. Ohio State, man. It's where it's where they win. Okay. I'm not getting any guesses here on the senators. I'm going to give you the first one. John Cornyn. John Cornyn. How many of you thought John Cornyn would be open to changes on the filibuster? And why do you think John Cornyn is saying he's open to changes on the filibuster? This is very important because this is how Fort Ransom, North Dakota checking in. Look at that. Okay. Why do you think John Cornyn is saying, oh, I'm open to changes in the filibuster? How many of you ever thought John Cornyn would be the one? Exactly. Rhino. He is like chief rhino of rhinos. Why is he all of a sudden open to the filibuster? I'll tell you why. He's not. He's not open to the filibuster. He can answer this question because he doesn't believe that the filibuster is going to be gotten rid of. So for him to say he's open to changes on the filibuster means nothing. And this is what's so sick about politics. John Cornyn is weak, feckless, and pathetic. He needs to be replaced. Ken Paxton needs to primary him. He knows he's down in the polling to Ken Paxton in the primary. Okay? He knows that. So he can go out there and say, this is what they do on votes. There's these throwaway votes. So let's just say the issue is, it could be a hot topic issue, but something that the majority of Americans, so let's do something with transgenderism, right? Everybody knows that parents of girls don't want boys in the locker room, okay? So what they do is they garnish, like good old Chucky Schumer gets together with them and says, all right, now I know you're in a district where this, it's a little more competitive this year. So you can oppose this and the rest of us will stand for it because we've got enough votes to stop it. So your vote really doesn't matter. This is what they do in politics. Okay? Here, Josh Hawley, of course you would think that Josh Hawley and Ron Johnson would be there. But Jim Banks, is he that conservative? John Boozman? Here, let me tell you some of the people who want to keep it in place. Okay? Mitchie McConnell. When is he? Good night. Is he even able to function? I don't say that because I can't stand. He shouldn't be in the Senate. He's too old. He doesn't have the mental capacity. He shouldn't be there. But Rick Scott, wasn't he the RSCC guy? He was supposed to be this big backer of Trump. Oh, Rand Paul, there's a shocker. Lisa Murkowski. Because it doesn't matter for these people. Chuck Grassley, you need to retire. How old is Chuck Grassley now? He's like 90. I think he's like 90 years old. What is he still doing? I mean, he can go drive his tractors in Iowa. I see him doing his little videos driving a tractor in Iowa. That's good. Go spend time with your grandkids and drive a tractor. Some no response. Marsha Blackburn didn't respond. Tim Scott didn't respond. These people just don't want to be on the record. Ashley Moody from Florida. Bill Hagerty. Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham, man, if there's ever a politician, Lindsey Graham is it. But this is the thing. We're at this point. So I just wanted to get those names out to you. So now this gives you a chance to call these people. In fact, I'm going to do something for you. My X account, I'm going to repost this from the Washington Examiner, the graphic, and then you can, I'm going to repost it right now. Boom, repost it. So I'm just at Neil E. Johnson on X. And if your senators are non-committal and you want them to vote to end the filibuster, you can call. Again, I'm a little torn on this issue, but I don't think Democrats won't nuke it at the first chance they get because there are no Joe Manchins in the U.S. Senate anymore. And we're looking at the Democrats are not going to take the Senate in the next election, but they could take it potentially in the next one if things just don't go right. Because these economic policy changes take time. Okay? So that's what's going on. And we've got Muslim, socialist, communists getting elected in New York. I think that's actually going to play out well for us. And Donald Trump won a sweeping mandate. But don't think that these economic concerns aren't what's going to drive everything. And don't think that we are not in as Trump tries to figure these things out, because policy only drives, what was it trying to say? I got too many texts coming through. But policy only drives the ship so far. Economy is actually spurred a lot by monetary policy. There's a whole host of things by demographics, population, ebb and flow. And so even as you see illegal aliens out of the country, say you can take government money and make statistics sound all right, right? And you can make it sound good for a year. So Trump could say, oh, we're not going to kick out any illegals. We're going to give the illegals more money. That's going to dump more money into the economy. Meanwhile, we're going trillions more in the hole, yet everybody would think that's good. So the way that this is going about, you're not going to see this just like the economy flip overnight, okay? You guys have to be realistic about that. People have to be realistic about that. Anyways, I got to get out to the hunting grounds. We'll see you on the next episode, folks. Peace out. Oh. Yeah, go check out MyPillow, mypillow.com. My friends tell me, hey, Neil, you got to mention MyPillow. That's right. Because look, do you know what? Yeah, we're staying at a campground, so we got our MyPillows, our little travel pillows. And I do not sleep on these lousy hotel pillows. I don't. I bring my travel pillow with. Go to mypillow.com/lumberjack to get the best products, the best savings on the best sleep products available, all right? 1-800-586-2865 is the 800 number. Great deals and free shipping over there right now. The Made in America sale. Peace out.